Anna the prophetess gives thanks. Gentle Bible story. According to the Gospel of Luke, after Simeon held baby Jesus in the temple and praised God, a prophetess named Anna also came near at that very time. Anna was very old, and she had lived as a widow for many years. After a short marriage in her youth, she did not depart from the temple, but served God with fasting and prayer night and day. When she saw the child Jesus, she gave thanks to God and spoke about him to all who were waiting for the redemption of Jerusalem. This story is remembered as the moment when a long life of waiting became gratitude and joyful witness. Now the story begins in the temple in Jerusalem. After Simeon's song of peace had quietly filled the moment, Mary and Joseph were still there with baby Jesus. Simeon had taken the child in his arms and said that his eyes had seen the salvation of God. His words must have rested deeply in the air of the temple. In that same place, there was also a woman named Anna. The Gospel calls her a prophetess. She was the daughter of Phanuel, from the tribe of Asher, and she was very old. In her younger years, Anna had been married, but that season of her life had been short. She had lived with her husband for 7 years after her marriage, and after that she had lived as a widow for many years. Sometimes a life carries a short joy followed by a very long loneliness. Anna's early years may have held love, hope, and the simple dreams of a shared life. But after losing her husband, she had to walk through many years without the companion she once had. The heart does not easily become light after such a loss. A person can keep living, keep breathing, and keep moving through the days, while still carrying a quiet sorrow inside. Yet the Gospel does not remember Anna only as a woman of loss. It remembers her as a woman who stayed near God. She did not depart from the temple, but served with fasting and prayer night and day. Those words carry the weight of many years. Anna did not let her life become only a story of what she had lost. She brought the long years that remained to the presence of God. The temple became more than a place where she stayed. It became the place where her sorrow was shaped into prayer, where her loneliness became watchfulness, and where her waiting became service before God. People may have looked at Anna and seen only an old widow, but before God, she was a woman who had waited, prayed, endured, and remained awake in hope. Her waiting was not bright in the eyes of the world. It did not happen on a public stage, and it did not come with applause or honor. It was made of quiet days, repeated prayers, hidden tears, and a heart that kept turning toward God. The prayers she offered in the temple did not disappear. The nights she spent before God were not empty. Waiting can sometimes dry the human heart, but waiting held before God can also deepen the eyes of faith. Anna had not stopped looking for the mercy of God. She was among those who were waiting for the redemption of Jerusalem. To wait for redemption is not only to hope that life will become a little easier. It is to wait for God to visit His people, to bring freedom where there is bondage, and to restore hope where long sorrow has settled. Anna grew old in that waiting, but her waiting did not become only resignation. Her heart toward God was still alive, and her prayer continued through the quiet hours of the temple. Then, at that very time, Anna came near. This short phrase in the Gospel is quiet, but it carries a deep beauty. A woman who had spent many years in prayer came near at the very moment when the child of promise was there. To human eyes, it may have looked like a simple coincidence. But inside the story of God, it was the meeting of long waiting and perfect timing. Anna saw baby Jesus. The child was still small and weak. He was held in the arms of his parents, and to many people he may not have looked different from any other baby. But Anna's old waiting turned into gratitude before that small child. The Gospel says that she gave thanks to God. Her thanksgiving was not a light or passing happiness. It was the deep gratitude of someone who had walked through years of loss, prayer, loneliness, and hope. It was the thanksgiving of a woman whose long waiting had finally found the promise of God standing before her. Anna's gratitude came from a life that had endured. She had lived through the fading of youth, the ache of widowhood, and the long rhythm of temple prayer. She had watched many days pass, and still she remained near God. Now her old eyes saw the child who carried the hope of redemption. Her waiting became thanksgiving. Her silence became witness. Anna began to speak about the child. The Gospel says that she spoke of him to all who were waiting for the redemption of Jerusalem. Her exact words are not written for us in detail, but what she saw and what she shared are clear. She told waiting people that God had come near. She spoke about the child to those whose hearts were still hoping for redemption. How deep that message must have felt to those who were tired from waiting. Some people in Jerusalem may have carried old prayers in their hearts. Some may have wondered if God still remembered His promises. Some may have lived under the weight of disappointment, longing for the day when God would comfort His people. To such people, Anna spoke about Jesus. Her voice may have been old, but the joy within it was not small. The witness of someone who has waited for a long time is never light. Gratitude that has passed through prayer and loneliness carries a weight that quick joy cannot carry. Anna did not make her own suffering the center of her words. She did not first speak about how long she had waited, or how lonely her years had been. Her eyes were turned toward baby Jesus. Her words were turned toward those who were still waiting. This is one of the beautiful parts of Anna's story. Her waiting did not remain closed inside herself. The comfort she received became a witness for others. The joy God gave her began to move toward other tired hearts. Anna's story stands beside Simeon's story in a tender way. Simeon's waiting became a song of peace. Anna's waiting became thanksgiving and testimony. One held baby Jesus and said he could depart in peace. The other came near, gave thanks to God, and spoke about the child to those who were waiting. Both had waited for a long time. Both saw the salvation of God, but their responses were not exactly the same. Simeon spoke peace. Anna spoke gratitude. God can restore long-waiting hearts in different ways. Some waiting ends in quiet rest. Some waiting becomes a song of thanksgiving. Some waiting turns into words that comfort others. Some waiting becomes a witness that helps another weary heart keep believing. Anna's story speaks gently to anyone who feels that life has become late. To many eyes, Anna's life may have looked like it was already in its evening years. But God did not overlook her old waiting. He did not treat her long prayers as forgotten things. He allowed her to come near at the right time, and He turned her years of waiting into a moment of thanksgiving. Anna had lost much in life, but her remaining years were not wasted before God. Her old eyes saw the promise. Her old voice carried joy. Her long life of prayer became part of the first witness to Jesus. Now this story leaves a quiet comfort in our hearts. God does not forget old waiting, and He does not treat hidden prayer as something small. Anna's thanksgiving reminds us that waiting does not have to end in emptiness. Even in a season that feels late, God can prepare a moment of joy. If your heart is tired from waiting, may Anna's story help you remember that God still sees the prayers that have lived quietly within you. I hope this story becomes a gentle comfort and a small light of gratitude for every heart that has waited for a long time.